RV owners, on every air conditioner replacement video I do or diagnostic video, I always get the comment saying, why not just recharge it? Why not recharge the system and bring it back to life? Because 9 times out of 10, when an air conditioner is bad, it is because it has lost its charge. There's a small leak somewhere, or it wasn't charged properly to begin with. Either way, it has lost its charge, and that's really all that's wrong with it. But in our industry, these things just get tossed away when they run low on charge. And I understand the argument. Why buy another $1,000 air conditioner when you can just recharge them? We've been recharging automotive air conditioners, residential air conditioners, commercial for years and years. Why can't we recharge these? Well, the simple answer is you can technically, but today we're going to go through the steps of what it would take to recharge an air conditioner properly and discuss why maybe it's not the most cost-effective option. I really wish this wasn't the truth. I hate how disposable our industry is, but let's go through the steps of recharging an RV air conditioner and what it takes, and you can decide for yourself if it's actually worth it. Now, like most air conditioner work, this is all going to be happening from up on your roof. You're going to have to remove the shroud to access the internal components of the air conditioner. Once we get this upper shroud off, we have access to everything. So we got this shroud off here, and now you can see the inner workings of a Coleman air conditioner. I'll make a special note here. When you're working on air conditioners, there's a lot of really sharp edges, especially when you're pulling that shroud off along here and the fins. I have cut the tops of my knuckles so many times pulling these shroud covers off, so I figured I'd give you guys that warning anytime you're working on an air conditioner. Now, this little guy right here, you can see where the line is pinched off. This is where they initially charged it and then pinched off the line, hence a sealed system. So there is no charge port here, which is where you would typically add refrigerant. Like on your car, you have a refrigerant port that you can actually attach a little hose to and twist one of the cans on and recharge it. RV air conditioners do not have that. Now, the common response I get to that is just get yourself a recharge kit that has a saddle valve so you can pierce into the line and recharge it. And that's where a lot of the problems come in with recharging these things. And let me explain why this probably isn't going to be your best friend. This is where the big issue comes in, only having one valve to recharge the system. Now, if you look at a standard set of air conditioner recharge hoses, you'll see there are 3. You have a high side and a low side, and then your yellow hose is going to be for the vacuum. You have to vacuum the system down. And that's what you can't do when you're using a setup like this, and vacuuming is probably the most important part of servicing an air conditioner. The first thing vacuuming the system down does is detect leaks. You vacuum it down to a specific pressure, and then if that drops, you will know that there's a leak. Fun fact, if you've lost the refrigerant in your air conditioner, you have a leak. That's problem number 1. You're not vacuuming it down. You know you have a leak. You have to find the leak to fix it. And I know there's some stop leak stuff out there. Most of it is snake oil and doesn't really work, but there are some people that claim that it can fix a small leak, which is true, because odds are if your RV air conditioner has a leak, it probably had it to begin with, and then over the course of a year that you've owned it, it has slowly failed. It is probably the #1 cause of premature air conditioner failure, is having a leak right from the factory. The other thing vacuuming the system down does is remove air and moisture from the system, which can damage internal components and cause the air conditioner to not work properly. The moisture stays in the system, it reacts with the refrigerant and creates an acid, which will further deteriorate the parts in your system. Air also dilutes the refrigerant that is being put into the system, and since air is not condensable, it's going to reduce the cooling performance of the air conditioner. And it can also cause some high pressures on the high side of the air conditioning system. Also, without vacuuming, you're going to get an inaccurate charge. Having the proper charge in an air conditioner is very important to its operation. You're either going to undercharge or overcharge. There's no real way to dial that in when you're not vacuuming the system down. High pressure is going to damage the system and blow your seals, and low pressure puts you right back to square one where you're not cooling properly. Most portless systems or sealed systems like this are just simply not meant to be recharged, at least not without a bunch of special equipment. And topping them off or just trying to blast some refrigerant in there is just going to cause more problems down the line if it works at all. But it is a temporary band-aid in some cases and can potentially get you a little bit more life out of the air conditioner, because again, the proper way is to have 3 different valves on here, vacuuming the system down, making sure the right amount of refrigerant's going back into the system. Now again, you can go ahead and buy you one of these, and this is going to come with that saddle valve I was talking about. Now, let's say after watching this, you still want to risk it and you want to get it recharged. That's fine. I'll show you the final steps. And it's going to be simply taking this piercing valve and adding it to that line. Now, I'm not going to do that and commit any crimes while I'm on camera here because, fun fact, releasing refrigerant into the atmosphere is illegal. So let's say you did that. Let's say you don't want to heed any of my warnings and you want to go ahead and try it anyway. Well, let me tell you why, unless you have a best friend who's in the HVAC industry, it's just simply not going to work for you. Take a look at this guy right here, and I want you to notice these recharge kits say 134A on them. That's a really important number to look at, that 134A. It's the type of refrigerant. Fun fact, that is not what goes in your RV air conditioners. As a matter of fact, most of these RV air conditioners are R410A. R410A is just a different type of refrigerant. That's what this system was designed for. You can't just take 134 and blast it in there. Now, here's the real kicker. You got to get your hands on some 410A. That's not going to be easy. And again, if you got a buddy who's in the HVAC industry, you might get your hands on some. Stuff runs about 75 bucks a pound where I'm at. So you can already see where we're not really getting into cost effective, even if you can get your hands on it. And then, even if you can find a supply house that's going to sell you a small amount, which the smallest cans I've seen are like 1 or 2 pounds, which again are going to be anywhere between 75 and 150 bucks shipped to you maybe, if you can get it that cheap. Even if you can get your hands on it, it is against the law for you as a non-certified HVAC tech to take R410 and recharge your air conditioner, especially because you're going to be adding this piercing valve that is most certainly going to release refrigerant into the air. Now, if RV air conditioners did in fact run on 134A, I would say, you know, if your neighbors aren't looking, might not be a bad idea to pay 20 bucks for one of these and go stop by your local hardware store and pick up a can of refrigerant. Because if you look at your local hardware store, that's exactly what you're going to find is 134A. It's what goes in most vehicles these days. So we've gone over the fact that it's a sealed system. It can be tapped into. It can potentially be tapped into properly and vacuum down and find the leak, locate the correct refrigerant, get it recharged by an HVAC professional. So you're talking about a couple hours of their labor, plus all of the materials and searching around. You're probably at or over the cost of what a new air conditioner costs you. You can get one from like RecPro for like 600 bucks if you really want to. We've talked about how hard it is to get your hands on the correct refrigerant for this, and even if you can, you're not technically legally allowed to do it. I know most of you guys aren't going to care about that, but those laws are in place for a reason, to protect the environment from people who have no idea what they're doing releasing refrigerants into the air. So while yes, it is possible, I will give it to you, it is possible. It's not cost effective, it's likely not going to last very long, and then you're going to be back at square one, needing a new air conditioner after all that messing around, looking for refrigerant, getting it recharged and doing all of that. It's just not worth it. It's 100% not worth it unless you have, a good friend who is an HVAC tech who already has the 410, has got all his fancy tools and can sweat some valves in for you, and he's willing to give you a buddy price. Might be worth it. Until these RV parts manufacturers start making these things where they're actually serviceable instead of disposable, that's where we're at in the RV industry. We've been there for a long time and have made pretty much zero progress in that area. If you were coming here to figure out how to recharge your air conditioner, hoping it was going to be that easy, I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm here to give you the truth, not here to monkey around and try and give you all these backdoor ways. I wish it was this easy, because I would offer it to my customers as well. Who knows, maybe if we bring enough attention to the issue, we can get one of these manufacturers like Airxcel to start adding service ports to their stuff so that they can be recharged, repaired, and maintenanced a little bit easier than just throwing them out and replacing them. And if you guys want to see some more tech tips, tricks, and even some tours and RVs, make sure you guys are pressing that subscribe button.